Soul music ain't dead. Oh, no, it ain't. Soul music ain't dead. I say soul music ain't dead.
All right. How's everybody doing today? Well, Omarr here, back once again to talk about this thing that I love to talk about, and that is soul music. That's right. Classic soul music. You might want to call it retro soul music. A lot of different names for it, oldies. And then there's those of us who we want to bring this music back to where it's new music being made in the style of classic soul, retro soul. So it's just like, I'd say the blues. Now, when you hear a song that's blues, you know right away, hey, that's blues. And many times it's not thought of as, I would say, something that's old, but it's something that's traditional and it's cultural, because the blues has planted itself in our society. And if you sing it the way it used to be sang, if you try to make something new of it, it's still the blues. So I got that same goal for soul. That's right. So we're going to delve right into it. You know, I don't know if it's me, maybe it's my imagination, maybe it's not, that there seems to be a push against new soul music, new classic soul music in the classic soul style, not singing anybody else's songs that have already been sang, but creating, producing, composing new soul music. That's what I'm talking about. There seems to be some kind of a push against that. I think the idea is that it's no longer marketable. It's no longer the in thing. Well, that's where the problem comes in with me, because I don't look at soul music as something that's trendy. It wasn't a trend when it started, and it wasn't a fad. It was something that came out of our deep culture. And, you know, from the church, the fields, the juke joints, you know, wherever we could get together and do our thing, sing our songs, sing our music, play it, and play it with feeling. Only we could do it that way. So that's soul music to me. That's classic soul. And there are still some of us who are pushing that, because we don't see it as something that's outdated or something that's no longer interesting, I should say, to people who love soul music. And there are different styles of soul. There's what the younger people are calling NeoSoul. There's the Southern soul, which has been around for a while. It has changed a bit from the innovators of it, like Joe Simon, you know, Little Milton, all of those guys. So what we are going to try and do right now is we're going to try and go through this thing called classic soul, the classic soul style. And some of the detractors and the distractors, I would say, they are pushing hard back, that there is and never will be another great soul artist like those of the past. Well, let's look at that, okay, and see where that comes from. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, we're talking about soul music, and how do we hold on to that classic soul sound? How do we hold on to that? Well, I would suggest this. And it has to be a sound that's coming from your deep feeling. And the way to get that, sometimes if you're not aware of it, if you're not into it, if you don't know where it came from, and you're one of the newer generation people, you might have to just go and listen to some of the pioneers of that music. See what they're doing. See if you can feel what they're feeling when they are singing these songs, when they're playing the music even. So our cultural history, that's what it is. It's our cultural history. It's not just something that came along and we wanted to make $1 with it. Some of the guys weren't thinking about making too much money. They were sitting on the front porch down in the Delta, down in Alabama, down in Georgia. And there came some guy up from the north. And he loved that sound so much, he wanted to record it and take it back and then make a few bucks off of it. Well, not necessarily for the singers, but he wanted to expose it to the world, as it so happened. And there it was, the blues, coming from people like Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Little Johnny Taylor. So it wasn't about the trend. It wasn't about a fad. It wasn't about trying to make it to Hollywood. It was about trying to sing your soul, sing the feeling that you were feeling, that you wanted to express to the world. And if you didn't want to express it to the world, you wanted to express it to whoever heard it, wherever they were and were listening. That was the goal. You wanted to express the feeling that was deep down in you. And you took the time, you took the energy, and you took the opportunities to do just that. So let's see, how do we do that? We have to know what our history is. That's right. We have to know our cultural history as a people from Africa and in this country, how it got started, why it got started. And then once we find that out, once we learn that, we have to keep listening to the pioneers, because they started out with the roots. We have to hold on to the roots, because once the roots die, then the tree falls. We are the trees. We are the leaves. We are the branches and the limbs. That's right. So our music, it has a feeling. And it's not just a feeling of whether or not you're having hard times at home with your spouse, with your husband or your wife. It's not just that feeling. It's not just a feeling because you can't pay the bills. It goes deeper than that, believe it. It goes way back. It goes back 400, 500 years back to what we had to do in order to survive. You have to know that history, or else you might miss soul, and you might miss the blues. And that's the other thing. The underlying sound that you hear, the underlying feeling that you feel when you're doing soul music is blues. It's gospel. You have to have that gospel sound in there, and you mix it all up with what you're feeling. And if you're not at church singing it, then you're going to sing about some things that are going on in the street. You're going to sing about things that are going on at the job. You're going to think about things that are going on outside of the church. But you have to have that same feeling, and you do, because that's who you are. But like I said, I wasn't going to take long. I want to invite you all out every week, because we're going to be doing this. We're going to be introducing new artists. We're going to be talking to those artists. We're going to be listening to some of their songs. We're going to resurrect this thing called classic soul in the style of the great classic soul artists. from the past. This is Vel Omarr. I will see you all next time when we talk about soul music.